Hi everyone, welcome to today's CleverLive webinar that we're holding. So today I'm going to go through the CleverLive system, show you how it works, show you how you can implement it in your setting, whether it's let's say an office building, whether it's a school for different receptions and etc. And I'll show you how CleverLive works, okay? So once we get one of the CleverLive devices, which is for example, CL Pro digital signage display or a Pico player, we are going to be able to make a free CleverLive account. Now, after we make the CleverLive account, we're able to create multiple users. So as you can currently see, this is my homepage of my CleverLive, and in here I have users. So I'm able to go into different users and I'm able to see the different users that are currently made on my CleverLive account. So then what I'm able to do is I'm able to tap on a create new user option to create a different user for a different staff member that might be helping me out with digital signage, for example. We can create a username for that user. And we can also create the email and the password for the user as well. And then we can share with the user afterwards, okay? Once we're done with that, we can tap on create and create that user then afterwards. Now along the top here inside our user settings, there's a permission editor that we're able to click into. Inside the permission editor, we have an option that says all users. So in here, we're able to see different users that are made on our CleverLive account. And then in here, we can take different options for different users. So for example, we have Bob. It's just an example of a user, and Bob has a tick next to presentations, which means that Bob is going to be able to edit presentations. Now, again, if we look down further, we have Bob and there's an X next to schedules where Bob's account is. That means that Bob is not going to be able to edit different schedules and create different schedules. So let's say we want the customer to be able to, or sorry, let's say we want the colleague to be able to edit different presentations. We can have a little tick next to presentations option, but let's say we don't want them pushing out presentations to the screens. We can have an X under their name where the screens options is. So that's the different permissions that we can adjust for different users that we have created on our CleverLive account. And there's a personalized page here as well. This could come in useful with our presentation templates. So these are the different logos and images that are going to be brought into our presentation templates. So what I mean by that is, for example, we have a logo and we have two images that we could be using often enough, and then we can use a primary color. And this is going to bring in from our personal page when we're making presentations from templates that are made by CleverLive. It's going to bring in our logo and our two images with our primary color into those templates, okay? So that way we don't have to upload a new logo every time. We don't have to upload two images into that option every time as well. We already have it selected here, and we can just click on OK then afterwards to apply that to our templates. Back to our homepage, again, we're hitting the CleverLive option at the top left to go back to our homepage. We have a few more different options here, like the room booking. So if we have a room booking panel, we are able to adjust the room booking on our menu here. We're able to authorize a new email, and we're able to create new rooms for different room booking panels and sync them with those room booking panels as well. Next to that, we have site functionality. So let's say you just want to use CleverLive just for room booking. You can change the site functionality in there as well. Then we have some different settings, and in here we're able to import shared. So for example, if we have a colleague that might be using a different CleverLive account and they created a CleverLive presentation and they want to share it to us, they can download that presentation and we can import it into our CleverLive account by using the import shared option that we have here. So that's our different options inside our home screen. If I click on presentations along the top, we can see our different presentations that we have in our gallery. So as you can see, I'm using 178 megabytes out of 5 gigabytes out of my storage that I have for my presentations. Now, I have a few different options when I'm making presentations. Okay, so just to give you a bit of background before we go into these presentations. So we're able to make single presentations, and we're able to put those presentations into a loop, and we're able to push that loop out to the screen. We can also, again, make single presentations or loops, and we can put those loops or those single presentations into schedules that we're able to apply to our screen. So that way, if we have a schedule and there's something scheduled for 11 a.m., there's a presentation pushed out from 11 until 12, it will recognize that and it will push out that presentation out to our screen. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make your presentations from templates and from scratch. I'm going to show you the different features that we can add into our presentations. And then after that, I will show you how to make your loops and your schedules as well. So to make a template out of your presentations, all you have to do is you have to go into your presentations along the top and you're hitting this little plus icon that we have here. So this is going to bring me into a menu of my different templates that I have access to. They're made by CleverLive. Now we have many pages of different templates. Our CL Pro digital signage display or our Pico player can be rotated both to portrait and landscape. So you're going to get choices of different presentations, both for portrait and for landscape. So I'm just going to go back to the first page. Now, for example, we can find different presentations here. Let's say I like this presentation just for the example here. I can use this little eye icon to see what that presentation is going to look like. So then in there, I can see the images uploaded, I can see the color, and I can see a few different text boxes that I have in there, and I can see where my logo is going to go as well. So let's say I like that presentation and I want to bring it into my gallery with my own logo and with my own 2 pictures that I uploaded into. I selected, once I can see the little tick icon, I can use the plus icon to import that presentation into my gallery. Afterwards, I can rename that presentation. So I'm just going to go with test webinar 0512. And I'm going to hit import then afterwards. Now that will take a few seconds to load up just because it's bringing the logo and it's bringing the 2 pictures and the color scheme into that presentation for me. And once I have it brought in, I can press back on my presentations and I can on the top right side look at, try and find my presentation. So the name was test webinar. So here we are. I can use the little edit icon to edit the information on that presentation. So if we don't want to add any new parts in, if we just want to edit the text and the images on that presentation, as you can see, when I hover over certain text boxes or certain images, I get like a red kind of square around them. So I'm able to press into that text box. I'm able to select that text and I'm able to add in more words or into that text box. So for example, we can go Christmas sale 40% off all footwear. Just an example. And then we can use this pause feature. So for example, I can put a pause feature there. I can write in another text. Please share your purchase on your social media and tag at Avio Ireland. Just an example. So then we can adjust the side by selecting that text. We can adjust the color by using that little A icon. So once I'm done, I added this pause feature. So what that means is when the CleverLive system reads that pause feature, it will pause at that action for a few seconds. Then it will go down to another paragraph and it will pause at that action again. So I can save it then afterwards. And if we keep an eye on that box in the middle there, it will pause at my Christmas sale for 3 seconds or whichever time it's adjusted to, and then it will pause at my second paragraph then afterwards as well. So it's a good way to get customers focused on a certain paragraph for a few seconds. I can adjust the pictures as well just by selecting the picture, using the plus icon to upload my own picture and selecting that logo and using the bin icon to get rid of it as well if I wish to do so. Now if I go back into my presentations here along the top, if I want to create a presentation just from scratch, if I want to add my own background with my own features, I'm able to use this feature here, create new blank presentation. I can tap on that feature. I can name that presentation. So we're just going to go with test blank 0512. Then you can adjust the different dimensions. So where this could be useful is if you have a screen that's set in portrait mode instead of landscape mode, your dimensions would be 1080 by 1920. But if your screen is set in landscape mode, you can leave it on 1920 by 1080. So I'm just going to leave it on that dimension and I'm going to hit save afterwards. So now in here, we can use the little lock to unlock that presentation. Now it's very important that this lock is always locked 95% of the times. The only time that we have this lock unlocked is whenever we're looking to add more features into our presentation. So what I mean by that is I have different features along the top here. I have zone, find, positioning mode. This will full screen my presentation. Next to that, I have a save icon that's going to allow me to save any adjustments that I've done in that presentation, like resizing or moving different things around. Next to that, I have a color block. So this will allow me to add in a color block, like my background color, for example. As you can see, I already have a color block added there into my presentation. So I can use the edit icon to change the color of that background. So let's say we want to change it to gray pinkish color. We're able to save that then afterwards. Next to that, we have images and background. So we're able to add in image blocks into that presentation. So this could be an image for your background. So every new feature that you add in is essentially a zone, and then you can upload multiple images into one zone. So you can have 3 image zones with different images in them. Okay, so I'm just going to upload the image zone and I'm going to hit save. So if you keep an eye on the left-hand side of that menu here, that new zone is added to the screen, and as you can see, a new zone on the left hand side called images is added into it as well. So I can place my image, maybe let's go for the middle. I can place my image in the middle of the screen and I can use the save icon then afterwards to save that positioning of that zone on the screen. Now, if I use the edit icon next to images, I'm able to see the images that are uploaded to that one zone. So I can select those 2 images. I can use the bin icon to delete the images that are brought in by CleverLive. And then I can use the plus icon and select files to upload my own image into that zone. So once I've uploaded that image into my zone, as you can see, it says complete. Now this image has to be a JPEG or a PNG file. Just make sure it's not a file like a WebP file, because CleverLive won't accept it inside that zone. And afterwards I can tap on finished. Now, as you can see, I have that image brought in. Now, if I only have one image, it will still show me an animation for that image. So to get rid of that animation, I can use the edit icon again. I can use the settings icon here along the top when I'm inside that image zone. And I can change the animation to just appearing. There's different types of animations that we can change it to as well, like circles shrinking in, out. If we have multiple images in that one zone, we can also change the scale of that image that's inside that zone to stretch, fit all, and out or crop. So again, this would be this could be something that you could play around with and figure out which way suits you the best. Next to that, we have a rolling text zone. So I've already went through that in the presentation that we brought in from our templates, where we can edit the text inside that zone. So we can place the text, let's say, on the side of our screen here, and we can stretch it. And then I'm going to save it afterwards. Now I can go into that text box to edit it by using the little edit icon there. I can select the writing inside the text box. I can delete it and I can put in my own writing. So let's say it's welcome to our office. Now I can select that writing. I can use the size option to change the size of it. And I can use these other options along the top to change the font, color, and etc. of it as well. Now, I can also use this little settings icon along the top to change the movement direction or the movement type. So let's say I don't want that text to move. I can set it to none. I can also adjust the pause time if I have my pause feature above every paragraph, and then I can save that on the screen afterwards. Now, as you can see, we have our welcome to our office message now on the screen. Next to that, we have video zone. So we're able to upload a zone that we're able to add an MP4 file into. Okay, so what I mean by that is I can save that onto the screen. I have that zone. I'm able to move it around the screen and I'm able to save it by using the save icon. I can go into my video and I can use the edit icon to upload my own video into that zone. So as you can currently see, there's a CleverLive video uploaded in. So I can select it and bin it and I can upload my own MP4 file into it. Just in this instance, I'm going to leave the CleverLive video there. But in your instance, you can upload your own video into it. We have an audio zone that will allow us to add in an MP3 file onto that presentation. Next to that, we have a volume zone that will allow me to adjust the volume of that presentation. So it's going to give me a scroll wheel where I'm able to adjust the volume of my presentation. Next to that, you have a Chrome zone. So you're able to bring in different Chrome websites onto your presentation. Okay, now it's not loading up for me straight away because I need to lock my presentation to get it to load up. But I can hit the save icon and I can use the likes of our own website. Okay, so I can copy the link for the website. I can go into my Chrome zone and I can use the edit icon to put in my own link for my website into that zone, and then I can save it afterwards. So once I have that there, once I lock my presentation, it will actually load my website onto that zone. Next to that, we have Chrome playlists. So this is where we can have multiple websites looping around each other. Next to that, we have a clock. So something that many customers will have useful, especially if we have it in reception areas or waiting room areas where customers might want to, see the clock and see the time. So we can set the clock somewhere, let's say in the middle of the screen. Now you can change the type of that clock and you can set it to have a transparent background. So to do that, we're going into the edit icon next to the clock. We're going into the change option and you can use digital with date to change the way that clock looks. Okay. Now you can also take the transparent background option and you can save it then afterwards too. So then you have a transparent background behind that clock on the screen and you can save it then afterwards too. So that's how we can bring in a clock. There's also an option for a countdown in there too. Let's say you want to have a countdown towards Christmas, for example, and etc. We have mouse control, so that wouldn't be too useful. We have an internet RSS feed. So the internet RSS feed will allow me to bring in an RSS feed from a news website. So what I mean by that is I'm able to bring in a news RSS feed from RT where the news are going to be updated constantly on the screen. So to do that, I can add it in and I can hit save. Now here we can look up RSS feeds, Ireland on our browser. We can go into a website like our FeedSpot and we can find an RSS feed for a certain website. As you can see, it says RSS feed there. I have a link, so I can tap on copy link address. Now I can resize that RSS feed and I can move it around the screen and I can save it then afterwards. And now I have my internet RSS feed. I can use the edit icon to change the URL for that RSS feed and I can save it then afterwards. And that's going to update with my news from my RT website then afterwards. Next to that, I have my local RSS feed. So these would be news that we update ourselves with a subject line and a description. Next to that, we have a touch zone. So a touch zone could be very useful for different customers. They may be using touchscreen totems, for example, where you can add in touch zones onto your presentations that will take you into other presentations as well. Next to that, we have a YouTube zone. So this will allow me to bring in a YouTube video onto my CleverLive with no ads. So if I go on YouTube, and in this instance, I'm just going to look up our own YouTube channel. So I can find a certain YouTube video. And as you can see, we have a YouTube link here along the top. So all we need to copy from that YouTube link is our code after v equals, okay? I can go back into my CleverLive then afterwards. I can move my YouTube zone, let's say, to the right-hand side, and I can save it. And then on the left hand side here, we can select that YouTube zone. You can go onto the edit icon to edit that YouTube zone. And all we're deleting is this last code after YouTube slash, and we're putting in the code that we got from our YouTube video that we want to bring into our presentation. So then after that, we're going to tap on save and we're going to be able to save that presentation onto our screen then afterwards. Now I'm just going to delete it just so we don't have a video playing in the background, but that's the way we can bring in our YouTube zones into our presentations. The next to that, we have a QR code zone. This will allow me to bring in a website, a QR code for a website onto the screen. So again, I'm going to use our website for this instance. What we can do is we can have a QR code on the screen. We can save it then afterwards. And we can go on that QR code. We can use the edit icon to change the URL for that QR code. So then I can save that afterwards. And once I scan that QR code, it will actually generate the QR code for me. I'm able to scan it and it will take us into our website. Further down the line, we have a PDF file zone that will allow me to bring in a PDF file onto that zone as well if I wish to do so. So that's the different features that we can bring into our presentations. Now we can do this with our presentation templates as well. All we have to do is just unlock our presentation and we can bring in more tools into it. Now, a very important thing before we finish with editing that presentation is to lock it every time, because that's going to sync with our CleverLive account and it's going to sync with the screen that we have that presentation pushed out to. Now, once I want to push out that presentation out to the screen, so as we can see, it's called test blank 0512. I can go into my screen. Now my screen should be already paired with my CleverLive account. If it isn't, you can use the plus icon and you can enter the PIN code that you see on your CleverLive screen to sync it with your account. Now once the screen is synced with my account, all I need to do is select the screen and I type in the name of that presentation into my search bar. And I can drag and drop that single presentation onto my screen. So if you keep an eye on the screen that's behind me, you're going to see that that's going to change straight away on that screen behind me. Now my camera isn't the best, you're not able to really see the colors properly on the screen, but the presentation changed behind me, okay? Now, if I go back into presentations, I also have an option that's called loops presentations. So I was mentioning this earlier where we're able to put more presentations into one loop. So I'm able to press on the plus icon to make a new loop. So I'm going to go webinar test and I'm going to save it afterwards. So in here, we can drag and drop different presentations that we have in our library into that loop. So just for this instance, I'm going to go with test blank, a test webinar. So you can see I have these two presentations now added to my loop. I can use the little clock to adjust the timing for each presentation in that loop. So let's say I want one presentation to run for 10 seconds and the other one to run for just 1 second there. 5 seconds, just an example, okay? So now I have that loop made up. So if I want to push that loop out to my screen, I'm going to go onto my screens along the top. I'm going to select that screen. Now, a very important part is on the left-hand side here, we're going to find loops. So we're going to select that part here, and we can drag and drop that webinar test loop onto my screen. So if you keep an eye on the screen behind me now, that's going to run for 5 seconds. So it was actually a bit shorter. Now this one is going to run for 10 seconds. And then after those 10 seconds are done, it will switch to my other presentation that I have running for 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there we go. That's going on to that next presentation then straight after. So that's how my loop works. And as you can see at the bottom left side, I have a loop assigned to that screen. I don't actually have a presentation. And as you can see, this Pico screen has a presentation and not a loop. So you can see the different icons there as well. So if I go back into my presentations along the top, I also have an option for schedules. So I'm able to create a schedule, as I was mentioning earlier. So I can use the plus icon to create that schedule. So I'm going to go test webinar. And we can select the default presentation for that schedule. So that's going to be the presentation that's going to be running on our screen when there's nothing scheduled on the schedule, okay? So I'm just going to go with test blank and I'm going to hit save. So now we get access to a calendar. So it's fairly straightforward from now on. We can select a certain day. We can either choose a presentation or a loop to be running on that day, on that schedule. We can choose the start time and the end time. We can also take so it runs all day. And we can get it to reoccur weekly, daily, monthly, and etc. And we can save and create them afterwards. So after we create those presentations on our schedule, we get them to reoccur and etc. I can go back into my screens. I can select my screen, and on the left hand side I can select schedules and I can apply that schedule to that screen. So then that schedule will be syncing with the time of the screen, and it will push out whichever presentation is scheduled on our calendar at that time to our screen, or whichever loop is scheduled on that calendar at that time. Now, a few other features that we have along the left side here is our announcements. So we can actually create a presentation and we can drag and drop it onto the screen and get it to last on the screen for 15 seconds. Let's say you have an announcement that you want to push to all the interactive displays around the school. You're able to do that with this feature. And then we have an alert, but the alert has to be actually manually cancelled from the CleverLive side itself. So I would advise doing announcements if you want to push out any messages onto the screen. We also have our library along the top, so we're able to save different images and different videos onto our CleverLive account that we think we might be reusing, and then we're able to easily bring them into our zones a little bit easier through that way too. We can upload our fonts into our CleverLive as well if we wish to do so. And then we have our interfaces here, where we have our mobile access interface, our room booking interface, so that's for customers that have a room booking panel, and our launchers as well. For more details on these options, I would advise doing a training session with me. You can contact me on Marco with K, so Marko at avio.ie for more details on training on this as well. So I want to thank everyone for joining the webinar. I'm going to put a recording of this on our YouTube channel as well. For any inquiries, feel free to send an email over to me directly, and I'll be sure to answer. Thanks once again for joining.